Good evening. Welcome back to the Speed Up Big Podcast. My name is Lo from California, and we have a special discussion tonight. We're going to take a look back at the year of 2021, and we're going to look ahead to 2022 as well. I'm joined by a fantastic panel of voices and creators. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm going to start off with Jalen. How you doing, man?
Hello, I'm doing good. I'm ready to talk some film. Go ahead and recap last year and take a look forward into next year. So I'm really excited and I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here, man. And with us back again, fresh off of his victory going into the final round of our Oscars tournament, we have Mr. Formal Review. Congratulations, man. Good luck in the finals. How you doing, Formal?
As good as I can be, I guess. That final match, who knows? I'm hopeful, but hey, whatever. Yeah, Matt's a hard one to go up against. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about 2021 and looking forward to 2022.
Awesome, man. And last but not least, we have Alyssa from Mainly Movies. We had you here before, and it's a pleasure to have you back. How are you, Alyssa?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back. Excited to, as these guys have already said, excited to look back at 2021 movies and look forward to 2022.
Excellent. And one of our other Suit Up Geeks, we have Ryan in the building, at Just Ryan again. How are you, Ryan?
Yo, what's going on, bro? You might think it's euphoria in my room right now, but it's not. We're just chilling, talking some great fucking movies, what we're most excited about, and eating some birthday cake flavored bunnies. So we're chilling, baby.
So just to kick things off, you know, as tumultuous as the past couple of years have been, like, is it just me or like 2019 felt like a decade ago? Am I right? Yeah. It's been insane, but at least for some of the positives we could look at, 2021 was quite the year in cinema, and not just because of the pandemic that we're in, but because the pandemic forced so many films to get shoved into this year. I feel like almost every week and every month there was an event or a picture that was delayed or a picture that we've been waiting for since 2018 or 2019 with the moment it was announced. So there was so much to take in this year. So I wanted to kick off the panel tonight with a question of what was your biggest surprise of 2021? It could be a film, it could be a performance, it could be box office numbers, it could just be, you know, the insurmountable hype that a certain comic book film created. You know, it could be anything. I think we're gonna get a lot of interesting answers. I'm gonna actually kick this to Formal. What you got for us, Formal? What was your biggest surprise of the year?
Well, I think 2021 led to a lot of director's cuts of films that we hadn't seen before. Obviously, the Snyder Cut came out, which I think I liked it more than I thought I was going to. And what that's, I guess, the fan base behind that is a wild thing that's still progressing to this day in 2021. But also, another film that director's cut came out, which I'm not sure too many people were asking for, but it still came out, was the Rocky IV director's cut. Having said that, I really thought it was a really great film that actually did a lot much better, I think, than the theatrical cut. Even if you really loved the first cut of the film and wasn't really looking for a director's cut, I mean, like you said, the pandemic brought out a lot and it gave Stallone time to re-edit a film, and I think it made it better, but I wouldn't have thought that any other time that we would have got that. So I think director's cuts in general can get a shout out for 2021. And apparently there's also a Fast 9 director's cut. I haven't watched that one, but I don't really know how that's going to turn out, but whatever.
Hey, really quick, can I speak to that? Because I saw the Rocky IV cut. Nobody asked for that movie, but it was so good. Yeah. Just because I'll be honest, I prefer 3 over 4. And the director's cut, Rocky versus Drago, really stepped it up for me. Did anybody else here see that?
No, but I wanted to. But I know you could rent it as well now.
Yeah, you can rent it now. It's not going to come with the cool specials question broadcast that Stallone did, I think, in theaters. But yeah, you can catch that Rocky versus Drago cut, I think, on Amazon and Apple, I believe. What about the Snyder Cut, guys? I'm glad that you brought that up, Formal. How do you guys like the Snyder Cut?
That was actually going to be my biggest surprise of the year because, like most people, a lot of us are really down on the DCEU, entering into that. Justice League was a major flop following the BVS flop. But I actually enjoyed the Snyder Cut. I thought that it added some interesting elements to that franchise, and it kind of got me a little bit more excited about the DCEU. I kind of like that they're going into that Injustice storyline, or maybe not because it was all a dream, but we'll see. So I kind of like the Snyder Cut and the way it expanded the DCEU. So that was my biggest pleasant surprise of 2021.
Yeah, I think I'll say like I'm not the biggest Snyder like stan or whatever you want to call it, but at the same time I do appreciate his work, and I think that the fact that he was able to fulfill his vision in the manner that he did, I don't know if it needed to be 4 hours, but the fact that they just let him do his thing, I thought that was pretty cool, especially considering how ridiculous the controversy was to start. Did you see Zack Snyder's Justice League, Alyssa?
No, I haven't yet. I did pick up the Blu-ray though, so I just
Okay.
haven't. I didn't catch it when it was on HBO Max, and I just.
For sure.
I
I'll have
haven't
to
gotten
see
around
what you
to it
think
yet.
about it offline probably. But Ryan, how did you like the Snyder's cut? I can't even remember.
So
God.
it's it's obviously a much better version than whatever you want to consider we got in 2017, but it's hard to say that it's a great film when I feel like we can say that same argument towards a lot of films. We just don't see the exact same cut towards. And I don't know why it's always been stuck in my head. I do appreciate the film, and there's some sketchy CGI, I think, here and there, but overall, I think the scene with Steppenwolf, I don't even really know how to explain it, on the beaches, like dragging the Atlantans on the beach, and like I think that's like one of the best looking visual effects I think in 2021 alone. So I give the film a lot of that. It gives us a lot of memorable moments, and ultimately it just still feels like a waste of time at the end of the day, because I feel like they're
Damn.
setting up so
Damn.
much that isn't going anywhere. They're literally
Man.
forgetting Ben Affleck's Batman. They're supposedly getting rid of Henry Cavill's Superman. I mean, those are your two biggest fucking players right there. I mean, no one's the biggest fan of what's his face playing Barry Allen. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of
Ezra
Ezra
Miller.
Miller. Yeah, Ezra Miller. Like, and I don't know. It just seems like they're in disarray what they want to do. And sure, it's a good film, but it feels like a film that's just set up for a bunch of other films that were meant to be instead of going to happen. And I think that's really what tarnishes a lot of it for me, because I enjoy so much, but I know I'm never going to get any satisfaction towards that ever again. But that's really how I feel. But I know a lot of people do have this high anticipation, because I know a lot of people campaign for this and the whole Snyder Cut movement. So, like I said, great for them, but overall, I just feel like it didn't do anything for me. But it was really cool getting to see a director get his full vision, get it out there, and get a 4-hour cut of a movie that honestly feels really hard. I couldn't imagine really where they would be able to cut down those parts for the theatrical cut rundown back if it did come out in 2017. It just boggles me a little bit, but yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's funny too, especially seeing Martian Manhunter. It's like, yay, now what? It's like, are we gonna see him again? Are they gonna recast that character? I don't know what DC's doing, man. And WB, shame on you guys. But was that your biggest surprise, Jalen? That was a pretty good segue.
That was my biggest surprise, just because I thought it was gonna flop even worse than that. I mean, like, I like what Ryan said as far as like, yeah, it is kind of like, what are y'all building up to? But given why Snyder had to step away, I am glad that they were able to bring his project to the big screen. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that was my biggest surprise. I feel like every other movie I saw was like
Longer, Jesus.
I want to say what's up to Tyler.
I mean, we're getting the Batman at clocking in at like 3 hours pretty much. So I'm chilling.
I was gonna say, how you doing, Tyler? I don't know if Zack Snyder could have made it any longer than it was, but it was definitely.
Oh no,
I'm sure he could have managed.
He could
could've
find a
Cyborg
way if he
story.
really wanted to.
Zack Snyder's the man to add extra content somehow.
All right, so I'm gonna kick this one to Alyssa. What was your biggest surprise of the year?
So I kind of had a little trouble narrowing this down because I had a few kind of minor surprises, I guess. I didn't have like any huge surprises, but one of them was the Mitchells versus the Machines. I did not really expect to I don't know. I didn't expect much of anything from that one. I remember way back when it was originally called Mitchell's versus Machines, and then they changed the name to Connect. And then at that point, I was kind of like, this sounds just, it sounds like a throwaway kind of movie, And then it came out and people were loving it, and I took a few months before I ended up watching it, and then I loved it. It ended up being my favorite animated one this past year. So that was kind of a big surprise. I wasn't expecting that to have as strong and interesting and weird of a story as it did. And the animation was good, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I guess another kind of minor big surprise for me was Cruella. Another one I did not expect to actually enjoy as much as I did. These live action remakes, adaptations, whatever they are from Disney have been very hit or miss, mostly miss for me. And that one I actually enjoyed. I thought it was fairly well done. And then last one is Nobody. That one came out of nowhere, and I thought that was a very enjoyable movie. Very John Wick-esque, but kind of a new take on it. And so that's my third one.
Love it. And I'm so glad you brought up Mitchell versus Machines, because to be honest, if we don't bring it up now, the Academy sure ain't gonna bring it up. I'm hearing rumors that they might not even get nominated, which is a travesty, because Mitchell versus Machines was so fun. I love the protagonist being a film nerd just like us, and seeing her film her little short films with her pug, and Danny McBride as her father was great. They played off each other so well. It was a delightful film. I'm glad you brought that up. Nobody was fantastic. Christopher Lloyd, I never thought in my life I'd want to see him wield a shotgun, but here we are, at his age, wielding a shotgun. That was such a pleasant surprise for me as well. What about you guys? Anybody else here seen Mitchell versus Machines or Nobody?
I haven't seen either of those, actually.
Check it out, man.
No, I've been wanting to watch Mitchell versus Machines. Now, I've never heard of Nobody until this, so I have to put that on my bucket list.
So, are you familiar with Better Call Saul?
A little bit, yeah.
So that the main actor, Bob Odenkirk, is the star of Nobody, and he's kind of like a family man down in his dumps, kind of like sick of his life, and he has like a secret that we see unfold on the film, like his secret past and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's like a less clean John Wick. That's literally what you can say. A less clean and probably a little bit more scrunchier of a man than
Hey,
John
Bob
Wick.
Odenkirk's great though.
Oh yeah, he kicks some fucking ass. Like he deals some hits in that movie where I'm just like, it makes me feel the way John Wick would feel. Like some dude comes around the corner and just clocks this dude straight in the nose with a bat. Like, yeah, nah, your nose went from an Audi to an innie real fast.
So I haven't seen it, but I own it.
Okay.
What?
Was
Yeah,
that part of like a haul that you've been meaning to get to?
Yeah, it was on sale Black Friday, so I was just like, I know I'm gonna watch it at some point, and a buddy of mine really wants to watch it, so we're gonna watch it together. But so I bought it. I was like,
Nah, it's
and
a
I've
good
heard
watch.
good things. Yeah.
I actually did have one last surprise. The movie Protege with Michael Keaton was like pretty solid. Like, I hadn't really been to the movies up to that point, I don't think, in 2021 when that came out, and it was like a pretty decent like movie going experience for me. I thought it was like had good action scenes, some good fighting scenes in there, so I like that movie a lot.
I was just say I like Michael Keaton.
No,
Maybe I'll
Keaton's
catch him when it
badass.
hits streaming. So I was gonna jump to some comments here. We got Mr. Crockpot. Hello, Dibes. His biggest surprise was Tick Tick Boom. As someone who doesn't like those kind of movies, it blew him away. I actually agree. I just saw this last night. Have you guys seen Tick Tick Boom?
Dude, it's so fucking good.
It's so infectious. Oh my god. And Andrew Garfield's so damn charming. Let's see here. Tyler hopes the Cruella sequel is called Tuella. I love it. Emma Stone supremacy. I think that was the thing for me. I think in lesser hands or with a lesser actress, I think Cruella is probably a miss, but Emma Stone just makes it work. I loved the way she played it, and I don't know how I feel about rewriting all these villains' histories. Like they did it with Angelina Jolie and Maleficent, and they're doing it again here, and it's kind of interesting, like to see the sympathetic side of those villains, but it
at
does
the
kind of it clashes with the film a little bit. So,
It does.
but if this was just a standalone film, I think I'd like it a lot more.
Yeah,
This
I
one
think
to
my
me though. Oh, sorry. You go.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna be quick and just say, like, my issue with it is that we're sympathetic toward this character that is eventually going to kill puppies. So it's
Yeah.
like I
And
don't
they
know.
give her a puppy in the movie. Like what the?
Yeah, it's just
Go ahead,
like
Alyssa.
anyway.
So this one, what I see it as is kind of an earlier incarnation of her. It's not the Cruella that we see later on. Like, she hasn't reached that puppy killing point yet. So we're seeing kind of the origin, we're seeing the start of this, and we just don't see that transition yet, which we might see in Tyler's Tuella. Who knows? But we haven't hit that puppy killing transition yet for Cruella. This version of Cruella. She's not the Glenn Close Cruella yet.
All right, Ryan O'Toole in the building. What's up, Ryan? He says Tick Tick Boom is a must. Everybody that hasn't seen it, please check it out. It's on Netflix. Tyler was surprised by how bad Snake Eyes was.
No, I wasn't surprised.
I was gonna say
That trailer,
I like Henry Golding. I wasn't
after
even
watching
excited
that
to see
first trailer, that movie was not a surprise. I walked out of there feeling like, wow, I'm glad I was right. That movie was gonna suck fucking ass when I was walking in.
But yeah, what about you, Ryan? What was your biggest surprise of the year?
So my top 4 movies, all surprises for all different reasons. Spider-Man: No Way Home, biggest surprise. Belfast, huge surprise. Mass is a huge surprise, and Tick Tick Boom is a huge surprise. No Way Home is a surprise just because off the box office, did not think it would make nearly as much as it's making right now, and it just blows my mind. Belfast is literally one of the most endearing films I've seen in a while. I love what Kenneth Branagh did with that film, and I don't know how any cinema lover could not just fall in love with this movie. It's all about falling in love with cinema, with your life just going down in shambles as a kid. And Jamie Dornan, he definitely took the criticism from 50 Shades seriously. So I give the
Wait a
man
minute,
credit.
is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I didn't even know that was him.
Dude, what? Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
just
you can only go up.
just,
Wow.
I mean, that is true, but at least he took the criticism well, and like he did something good with it, and like great movie right there. Mass was a movie I saw back at Sundance last year, ironically enough, and I was not expecting it to just like creep up on me with all those emotions. I'm sure a lot of people here, we all know a lot of the people that involved with the Oscars and shit like that. Like, this movie just blew me away, and it stuck with me throughout the year, which just threw me off a rock because it was my number one up until like midway through December of last year, all the way from the first day of February, which is mind-boggling. And Tick Tick Boom is literally a love letter to writers because it's literally the struggle of every writer's life. 2 quotes you live by: New York City is nothing but depressed people. And writing a script or any type of writing a book, anything like that, is just like throwing it at the wall and waiting for it to stick. That's literally what writing is. And a beautiful letter to Jonathan Larson. And I was kind of hesitant because I wasn't the biggest fan of In the Heights as much as everyone else. And Lin-Manuel Miranda just knocked it out of the park with his directorial debut in this movie. And just, Lo, you know how fucking amazing it is. I love it.
I was gonna
Andrew
say, dude, as
Garfield.
a fellow writer, like that hit me. I felt like she was talking to me. She was like,
Yeah.
just write. When you're done, write again. And when you're done, write again. Just keep writing. And it's just like, oh my god, that is my problem. I
true.
stop. And Ryan O'Toole, Alyssa actually agreed with you, Ryan. Mitchell versus Machines was his big surprise. It was one of hers as well. I also love that movie. I have a couple things. I'll start with the performance. Has anybody here seen Spencer?
I
Not
have.
yet. That's on my list.
Oh, I guess I have, Loretta. Hi.
Okay, so hold on. Before I get to you, right? I just
Oh,
want to tell you
okay.
guys, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's just like, it's one thing to see people talk about that performance, but it's another thing to see the performance. And I just personally want to hats off to Kristen Stewart, give her my kudos and respects, because not that I never thought she was a good actress, but the level of emotions that she hits in that film, from her silence to her eyes to the way her body language, like, it is an engrossing performance, and I'm rooting for her. I hope she gets the Academy Award, at least the nomination. We'll see, because the Screen Actors Guild kind of snubbed her a little bit, but that's a whole different story that I want to get into. Last but not least, I think my biggest surprise was a film that I was expecting, but I didn't expect Shang-Chi to be anywhere as good as it was. Like, it made me so happy, but it was also like so refreshing because I was actually going into Shang-Chi expecting to not like it. I was scared they were going to ruin it. I was scared the action wasn't going to be good enough. And the fact that the film reversed my feelings in the theater was such a jump for joy for me. I saw it 3 more times in the theaters. So that was awesome. Any of you guys like Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Top 10, baby. Top 10.
So good. Oh, they're so fun, man. What's his name? Simu Liu killed it, and Tony Leung is one of my favorite actors of all time, and just seeing him finally, be in an American film, that was amazing. So welcome to the States, Tony Leung. So now that we're all jumping for joy, I don't mean to bring it down a little bit, but I just gotta ask you guys. I'll kick us off. I'm gonna jump into our biggest disappointments of the year, and I gotta say, not that it was like the most bestest action movie of all time, but as someone that grew up with the video game and adored the 95 version of this franchise I'm about to speak of,
yes, rip they ass.
I was so upset watching the new Mortal Kombat, guys.
Yes.
The script,
2 thumbs down, it was trash.
The acting,
No bueno.
and the way they murdered some of my boys, and then they didn't even show one of my boys. They tease him at the end of the movie, and it's like, yo, I don't even want to watch that movie.
Bro, it's all for the money, baby. They're cashing in on the franchise.
Warner Brothers not seeing heaven for making that Mortal Kombat remake shit up. Like, that movie sucked. Like, that movie tanked. I'll let you go. That was my biggest disappointment
What
too.
did y'all expect?
You know what?
The trailer was hype for him. I don't know. I thought the trailer
it didn't look good, but like, do you guys expect it to be a great film compared to like what we got? Like, those first 2 films are not good either.
They're not. That's why I thought that they were good. Like, I'm like, certainly you're not gonna make another trash one. Like, CGI has developed so much since then. They gave it the R rating, so I thought the R rating was like gonna give them the space to really like, jump into this MK universe and give us a good film. And it was awful. And so that was my biggest disappointment too. And one thing that I said heading into the movie is, dear God, I hope they don't go into the MK universe and focus on Jax, Sony, and Johnny Cage again. And they said, we're not going to give you Johnny Cage, but we will give you this random, just a kid from Chicago guy. And it was the worst film. I mean, there were scenes in that movie where I was like, this is a joke. Like,
bro, his power.
I thought Zero Scorpion stuff was. I thought that was cool.
His power is literal plot armor.
Yeah, that's it.
At one point, they're literally in Chicago fighting in a UFC ring. I was like, this is not Mortal Kombat at all. Like,
it's Mortal Kombat, bro. You just don't know the game clearly. It's Mortal Kombat.
And then on top of that, they get the accent that Liu Kang had was like almost infuriating. Like, it was like the worst way to try to bring that character to life, in my opinion. Like,
you know what the most bothering thing is? Like, they probably worked 3 times as hard on this movie, but yet the 95 movie was way better and they gave 1/3 of the effort. Like, bro, honestly, in every aspect of every department, that film, on top of Goro, that movie gave us a way better Goro than the one. Bro, Goro was the most disappointing motherfucker in this movie. He's like, "Oh, Cole Young," and then don't worry, Cole, your plot armor comes in on time.
Yeah, that's literally all it was, plot armor. Oh my god.
Yeah, baby.
Literal plot armor.
Literal plot armor. It was gold. It took his beatings. Like, it literally said it absorbed the punches and just made a sword. Like, bro, how do you make that a power for a character when you've literally got fucking wizards, Goro, you got dudes throwing his bladed hat at bitches and literally just fucking chainsawing them on the ground? Like, yo, what? And you give this dude just plot armor?
The fact that we were on Earthrealm at all was really disappointing to me. Like, that's why I thought it was finally gonna be a good MK film, because I was like, okay, they're gonna learn.
But the Netherrealm looked so bad. It was so boring. It was just a fucking desert. Like, bro, anyone could film a cool fucking fortress in the desert. That's not what Mortal Kombat is. At least in Annihilation, they gave somewhat of a fucking effort to make it look different. Mm-hmm. Like, it might not have worked in any aspect, but at least they tried.
I think the last thing I'll say on it is Liu Kang is literally like the star of that franchise, and he had like 5 lines in this movie.
Straight up.
I don't know. I don't know who the hell Cole Young is. I did not care.
Kano was also way too
Neither did the
involved.
movie.
Like Kano had 1,000,000 lines. 87 of them were racist or misogynist in some way.
Yep.
So it was just really difficult to sit through his. It was like every time he got a line, I was like, bro, why though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are we featuring Kano right now?
Yeah, he takes up a lot of this movie as well. Like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's bothersome when you say Mortal Kombat in the title, and this is just whatever comes before the Mortal Kombat, because one, you need to sell Luke Cage for the next movie, and then not Luke Cage, Johnny Cage, and then two, you got to make a sequels to get more fucking money. And honestly, I think the HBO going to HBO Max might have helped them in the long run when it comes to streaming numbers, because I know it did better than the Snyder Cut. I think it got like 15 million streams, while the Snyder Cut maybe got 8 within its like first 30 days.
You know what's funny though, right? I think MK got lucky because it had a
good.
pretty decent amount of screens in theaters, but
Because
I feel like
nothing
nobody
was,
else had anything else to watch, so they just watched it.
yeah,
Literally.
that's when movie theaters were still like trying to find its footing again.
Mhm.
Hey, so
That
really
and
quick, guys, I
March.
want to go into the comments a little bit. People are clowning on one of my favorite films of the year. I will not take this Eternal slander.
Yikes.
Dive said he's surprised at how bad it was. He wanted to like it, but it was average.
Bro,
Ryan
I literally put
agrees.
it on last night, fell asleep in 5 minutes. But it
Ugh.
was 8 o'clock too. Like I wasn't even tired and I just fell asleep.
So before I kick this to Jalen, I just want to say, Dive said, "What's worse, Mortal Kombat or into the new Space Jam?"
Mortal Kombat.
I didn't even finish the new Space,
Space
Jam.
Jam.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I haven't started it.
Space
I wasn't
Jam was
really
just
looking
cringe.
forward to it, but I didn't even finish it. Jalen, what was your biggest disappointment of the year, man?
It was Mortal Kombat. That trash.
Well, it was
that
the same one.
That attempt at a Mortal Kombat movie was the worst thing I have ever endured. I remember because me and my sister, like, we love Mortal Kombat. Like,
Me too, man.
I mean,
Me
I play
too. Same,
every
bro.
single game, like,
Toasty.
you know, and just to like Ryan said, that it had the title of Mortal Kombat, but that's simply not what we got. Like, the
Yeah.
product itself was a major flop. It missed in every aspect. Like, it didn't
And
even
the
lead to
Arcana,
the rated R.
the Arcana was stupid as fuck.
It was. I didn't realize. Like, I was disappointed in the fact that it was rated R because Kano was gonna say a million different vulgar things. It wasn't rated R because there's actually like good
Violence.
gory fight scenes. It's just like, can you endure all this racism and misogyny? And I was like, I guess I can. Warner Brothers, thank you. So yeah, that was my
Well
biggest
said, man. I forgot you said that earlier, but
yeah.
Formal, what was your biggest disappointment of the year?
Well, not to keep going on the Warner Brothers track, but I was most disappointed with Suicide Squad.
Really?
What?
I
What?
love that movie. What did you not
He said it's
enjoy
enough
about
for me,
it?
big dog.
I thought it like just was just violent for the sake of being violent. I think a lot of the characters like just had mini stories here and there, and that's it. And there was an attempt for a theme that goes into it, but then like it doesn't execute well. Honestly, it's just, I think James Gunn was just wanting to be violent, and not to say it's a bad movie. I just expected more. Like, I expected there to be a character that like I just like really like followed or something. Instead, we just got like 6 characters with 6 mini stories, and I didn't really connect really with any of them. But there was like some like good stuff in there, because like obviously Ratcatcher 2 I think had the most endearing in the entire movie, but I got that with that one flashback that at the end of the movie, and then the ending is just the same as like any other big CGI film. So like I say most disappointing because I expected more to it. I'm not trying to say it's bad, it's just it wasn't for me. So it's just like I was just disappointed. I thought I was gonna like it a lot more, and I didn't. That's all.
I don't know what to say. I loved that movie. Anybody else here have any thoughts on this?
Well, I'm surprised that your expectations for it were high after the first one. The first one was like cheeks. Like, I feel like this one kind of, at least the second one gave us some type of goods. I was not a fan of the first Suicide Squad. So
I mean, I'm not a
many
big fan of
people
that
were.
either. I think that one's trash too. But I'm not saying this one's trash. I'm just saying it was just a letdown. I mean,
yeah.
I think Margot Robbie, like as good as she is, I think this is her best character in my opinion. the story thing that she gets married to this guy or whatever that whole thing was. What was the point of that?
Yeah,
Like,
I
it was
would
just
agree
probably
that
the one part.
yeah,
where I
that
was like, where is
subplot
this
was kind of
going? I agree with
unnecessary.
that.
That had no. I mean, it showed that she's still crazy and like fantastic in that sense, but that's it. And I was like, okay, there was no point to that entire sequence of a story. I didn't really care about it. I'll say like I enjoyed the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn more than I enjoyed that. So
I was gonna say that's probably the hot take of the evening so far, man. Didn't expect
Low-key.
that. But Alyssa, what was your biggest disappointment of 2021?
So sticking with the Warner Brothers train here, one that was already mentioned but not by any of you guys, Space Jam: A New Legacy. So that wasn't one that I expected to be good, so it's not a disappointment in that sense, but it's a disappointment mostly because I have such nostalgia for the first one. So like you guys were talking about Mortal Kombat and watching the original film and playing the games. That was like Space Jam for me. I used to watch that movie. I still have the PlayStation game. I used to play it all the time. And so Space Jam was like huge for me as a kid. And I still, it's the original's not a good movie, but there's definitely some nostalgia there for it, for me.
facts.
And so I don't know. I didn't expect this to be great, but I don't know. I don't know what I expected, something more similar to the original or something that would at least play on the nostalgia a bit more. And I know some people don't like that. They hate that
Basically.
that element, that kind of just playing up on people's nostalgia. But I like that, and I would have enjoyed that. Or at least, if they're going this new direction with the whole whatever Warnerverse or whatever it was called, like spend more time in it. That was the most interesting part of the movie when they were going to the different servers. Serververse, that was the name. So when they were at the different servers, that was fun. But then it's just, I don't know, the algorithm, I know he was popular with some people, but I hated that character. And so I don't know. It wasn't one I expected to be great or anything, but it was pretty disappointing to me.
Hey, you know what? I agree, and it sucks because I like Don Cheadle a lot. I think he's a great actor, but I don't know what that was supposed to be. Dive says down below, this show should be called WB Shits the Bed in 2021. You know what?
There were some highlights.
That's a good caption
I
so
will
far.
say that. Not entirely shitting the bed.
I'm gonna kick
but
this
more
one
like,
to you, Rye. Did you go already about your biggest disappointment of the year?
No, but like, I feel like I just want to say Warner Brothers movie just to keep it going. So I'll use that as an honorable mention. As the Warner Brothers honorable mention, I'll put Matrix Resurrection. What an awful sequel. I'm so sorry, but other than that, I think my my most disappointing film, I'm gonna switch it up to Blumhouse, and that's gonna be Halloween Kills. I thought it was an atrocious movie. I when you say bottom of the barrel when it comes to Halloween movies, this is literally the bottom of the barrel. The ass cheeks of this film is so far at the bottom of the barrel that it's just rubbing against it, bro. It's just getting fucking needles in its ass from the barrel. That's how low this movie is for me, because I did not like it. If you guys obviously have not known, I feel like that's the year 2020 has been. A lot of part movies where it's a piece of a bigger story, but within that own movie you don't get its own self-contained story, which is like my main problem with Dune. And this feels like a very filler movie, and it's just coincidental enough it's right in the fucking middle between the first movie and the third movie. So not only does it feel like filler movie, when I try to explain it like that, it sounds like a filler movie. And when you got it feeling like a filler movie and looking like a filler movie, it's a filler movie. This is the nastiest fucking sandwich I've eaten so far. Say what you guys want about Scream, but Halloween 2018 was pretty solid. And then David Gordon Green was just like, you know what? Let me just eat that Halloween burger patty or burger bun that Burger King was doing like 3 fucking years ago, whatever, and just came out with the black shit. That's literally what Halloween Kills is, bro.
damn.
That's literally what Halloween Kills is. It feels pointless. it brings in a bunch of characters just to be nostalgia bait. It's a nostalgia bait movie. Bring back all these characters from the first movie. Like, oh my God, we bring in Michael C. Hall as Tommy Doyle, and a script that says, "Evil dies tonight." You know what I mean? How could you ever forget that line at this point? You see the movie once, you've seen half the script. I don't need to see what happens in between. It's either Michael stabbing someone or Evil dies tonight. That's all I gotta say. And we are killing evil, or evil hopefully ends next year. Praise be that. I'm done with evil living. Evil does need to die tonight.
Hey, Rye, you know what's funny is you listed your top 4 of 2021 earlier. I should have told you we were saving that for the end of this. So just to put a cap on 2021, round out your top 5 really quick. Just list them off real quick, and then we'll sound off on your films a little bit.
All right. I got to get to my list now. You kind of threw me a curveball there. But so my number 5 is actually the Rescue documentary on Disney Plus. It's made by Jimmy Chin, who did Free Solo back in 2018. When I tell you like an immersive fucking documentary, like, bro, this shit gives you chills. Some of the angles this guy gets when going through a 4-foot wide tunnel for 5 hours, it's insane. And watching them try to get the soccer team out literally kind of brings you to tears, because it literally seems like an impossible mission that gone right. But number 4, I got Tick Tick Boom, one of my favorite musicals of all time, made one of my top 25 movies of all time. 3, I got Mass. Like I said, it's been with me since February 1st of last year, and it's still with me today. Belfast came out of nowhere. That's my number 2 spot. Love that movie. And then my number 1 is Spider-Man No Way Home, because it just feels a love letter, like a giant love letter to a bunch of different lineages within the Spider-Man culture, between the Maguire eras, the Garfield eras, the Holland eras, all of them coming together and still telling a really unique and Spider-Man story at the end of the day, with really great performances. And I thought the ending of Far From Home was shocking when they revealed his identity, but seeing them drop Peter Parker to literally a fucking nobody is one of the most heartbreaking things, seeing Tom Holland go through, because the man's 25, but he still looks 16. So you hate to see it. You hate to see it. But yeah, that's my top 5 of 2021.
Epic list, man. I literally, just before the stream, I was watching Mass. I had it on while I was driving home, and
what'd you think?
I cried in the car.
Dude, it's intense. It's intense, bro.
Anybody that hasn't seen Mass, please check it out.
too.
It's one of the best acted films of the year. But with that being said, I want to kick this one to Alyssa. Tell us your top 4 of 2021.
Just my top 4. Everybody else got 5.
Sorry, top 5. It was supposed to be
Yeah,
4.
Reynolds,
Okay,
come
I was
on.
like, top 4
No,
is so oddly specific.
Sorry,
Like,
top 5.
All right, that's an interesting number. but okay.
Mouth typo. Sorry.
So mine's not super finalized yet. This may change. I'm still doing some 2021 catch up, but right now number 5 is a film called Out of Sync, also called Trace. And so this was a movie I saw at TIFF, and it's very interesting, and I don't think it's gotten any sort of wide release yet. So when it does, be on the lookout for that one. It kind of has elements that are similar to Sound of Metal, but it goes in a very different direction from Sound of Metal. But there are some similarities that people will be comparing.
Hey, really quick, Alyssa, what was the title of that?
Out of Sync.
Out of Sync?
Yep.
Okay.
Or it it's a Spanish film, so or I think it's Spanish. It's in Spanish. I'm not positive if it actually is Spanish, but it's also called Trace, so like 3. But anyway, Out of Sync. Number 4 for me is probably The Mitchells versus the Machines. Already talked about that one. Number 3 is gonna be one I'm gonna get hate for, I'm sure, but I loved Gunpowder Milkshake. So it was a Netflix movie that I know some people watched, some people didn't. Most people did not like it, but I really enjoyed Gunpowder Milkshake, so that one's pretty high up for me. Number 2, I've got A Quiet Place Part 2. I really liked that. I liked the continuation of the story. I know Ryan maybe didn't like it because it seems like it's it might be the middle part of a sandwich here.
Said that about that movie.
So who knows? I enjoyed it at least, and I'm looking forward to part 3 because it's surely going to be coming. And my number one, definitely Last Night in Soho. That was my most anticipated of the year, and it ended up being the one I loved, and it was different than what I expected, but not in a bad way. And I love Edgar Wright's films. Shaun of the Dead is my all-time favorite movie, and so it was nice to see him kind of go back into horror, but this is more psychological thriller horror, not really straight up horror. But I really enjoyed Last Night in Soho.
I love it. Me too. It really blew me away. The soundtrack, Thomas and Mackenzie was so amazing, and ditto Anya Taylor-Joy. It was cool to see them play off each other. Anybody else like Last Night in Soho? I loved it. Anybody else see it?
Dude, literally, what a technical marvel. Like, seeing like the behind the scenes of the way they filmed the bar room scene was just like, bro, that's like filmmaking at its finest right there. And just watching how they did the films, the touching the mirrors and shit like that was, dude, just if you don't vibe with the story, just watching it on a technical aspect, you'll just be amazed. Between that and the sound editing and sound mixing, you'll have a blast.
With that being said, Formal, give us your top 5 of 2021.
So I'm similar in the sense of like this is kind of a developing list because I usually don't like give out my top list until I've seen everything that's been nominated for like Best Picture, the acting categories, and also director. So this may change in the coming months, but I want to give one quick. This is kind of an honorable mention, but just because we've been bashing on Warner Brothers, there were a few highlights. I will say that In the Heights for me is it was really good, and I really enjoyed seeing that. So I'll give a props to Warner Brothers for releasing that, even though they didn't do that great at the box office, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so starting at the bottom, I would say for me it was similarly was Quiet Place 2. I really enjoyed that film for all the other reasons that were said already. I'm not going to dive too much into that, but and then this one I think is kind of forgotten a little bit about, and that's Candyman. I really liked that film a lot. I think it touched on a lot of really great themes. I think that Yahya Abdul-Mateen is a great like star now, like being an Aquaman, and then this, and then plus many other films, and not many, but a good amount of films. So I'm really looking forward to what he comes through. And then so the next three, I think there I have a difference of my favorite film versus what I think is like the best made film of the years. So my favorite of the year, I will say this is my number 3 so far, and that's Last Night in Soho. I also really love that movie. I really love how actually it was kind of a step away from Edgar Wright's typical stuff, and I really just love the themes and how that film was made. I'm not going to repeat too much of what you guys said already, but the next two films I think for me are just I think they're cinematic art, and I've rewatched them now a few times. One I just watched for the first time last week, which was The Tragedy of Macbeth film. I loved that. I thought it was acted. I'm also kind of a big Shakespeare person, so that's also why I really liked it. The cinematography on that is fantastic, and really every person in that is really fantastic. It's such a great movie. And then for me, the number one for now at least is The Green Knight that came out. Yeah. I thought that was. I've rewatched that so many, not so many, 2 or 3 times now, and it's good, just good. The sound, the story, the acting, everything about it, the way the film's made. Interestingly, the top 2 films as of now are A24 films, and I really liked a lot what they've done in the past 4 or 5 years. So hopefully they continue that going into 2022 and further on.
Hey man, A24 is a great studio. I'm happy that they're flourishing the way they are. I think
it's because it's elevated horror, bro.
Well, not just that, man. I think we need a studio like that to help push independent films and lesser known filmmakers to the forefront. Guys. So
2019 was their year too.
Jalen, drop us your top 5 for us for 2021.
Okay, for sure. Like everybody else said, mine is kind of a rotating ranking, just because I am I have a few more on my bucket list, including some that I just got on this stream. So thanks for that. But just to rattle mine off really quick, number 5 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I know he is forever going to be slandered, but like I said, just the backstory of knowing why he had to step away and then him being able to actually put that product out, I liked it. Number 4 is actually Ghostbusters Afterlife. I kind of like the spin that they had with that franchise. I like the introduction of new characters. I love me some Paul Rudd. Not gonna lie, I'm a big Paul Rudd guy. So
Sexiest man alive.
the sexiest man alive. So there's always that. Number 3, The Harder They Fall. I'm usually not big into westerns, but this was a black western, and I just was a fan of the representation.
Great
Some really
soundtrack.
strong acting. So really like that movie. Number 2, Shang-Chi. Just like what Lo said, it was kind of a surprise. I didn't really know too much about Shang-Chi's character, his comic book character, that is, prior to the movie. So that was an adventure, just some super badass fighting scenes. And then number 1, no surprise here, No Way Home for me. I'm Spidey to the core. So I mean, No Way Home was
baby.
just like a treat, a delight, a gift. Right around Christmas time. So yeah, No Way Home is definitely my favorite film of 2021.
Awesome, man. And look, because I'm gonna be honest, it's not on my top 5, but don't hear what I'm not saying. Spider-Man's near and dear to my heart, and just what we got in that film was such a overwhelming abundance of me jumping out of my seat and almost being brought to tears at the sheer thoughts of what we got. And thank you, John Watts. Thank you, everybody involved. I'm actually trying
Shout
to
out
keep
to
my
John Watts.
spoilers. I know it's been out for a while now, but I'm trying to keep it quiet just in case no one hasn't seen it. Before we do mine real quick, I want to say formal honorable mention for Tragedy of Macbeth, man. I unfortunately saw it like at 11:45 p.m. and that movie's damn
Oh.
near almost whatever. So I mean, it's not 3 hours, but it just I kind of
One
dozed in the
fuck.
middle there. But I will say, Denzel Washington is as everybody knows, he's a force to be reckoned with, and some of the shots in that film I cannot believe they pulled off. Like the cinematography and the way they were playing with the light and the way they were playing with shadows was just phenomenal. I definitely am gonna watch it again on Apple TV. I just want to say I agree with you, man. That was a hell of an experience when I was conscious. Just being honest. But I'm gonna knock out my 5 really quick. Have anybody seen Come On, Come On?
Yeah,
That's on my list.
I did.
That one got me. I don't know what it was, but it was a really simple character study. Joaquin Phoenix, and he's taking care of his nephew, and it's filmed in black and white, and it has a lot of interesting themes about the way children's minds work, and just kind of like how we relate
What
to
a
children,
black
how
and white
children perceive the world, and it's not the biggest surprise, but it definitely caught me off guard with how much I enjoyed it. So to anyone that hasn't seen it, please check it out. Joaquin Phoenix is great in it, and yeah, I thought it was wonderful. Number 4, I had Wes Anderson's French Dispatch. It's definitely not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's very fast paced. The script moves a mile a minute, and Wes Anderson shows off all the big words that he knows. But the cast is wonderful. Jeffrey Wright, Benicio del Toro, Owen Wilson has a nice little 3-4 minute monologue to himself, and it's just a
Wow.
fun picture. I think for Wes Anderson fans and cinema fans, I don't know how mainstream fans will like it, but number
Was he riding a jet
3,
ski?
I think I got my numbers all wrong. I don't know how to type. Number
Well, you're
3,
only
I
doing
will
your
say,
top 4.
I agree, Ryan. It's Mass
Lo
for
is
me.
struggling with numbers tonight.
Yeah, no, dude, I forgot. I did a typo and then I typed another number there. But anyways, it was Mass for me too, Ryan.
Yeah, baby.
It shook me to the core, and it's one of those films that I think
It's a
maybe
real
some
film.
people aren't ready to watch, some people aren't ready to hear, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. That's all I'll say. I don't want to get too deep into the details of the film, but anyone that hasn't seen Mass, just check it out. It's an experience for sure. Number 2 is my only blockbuster on the list, but I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it's by one of the greatest filmmakers of our time right now, Denis
say it.
Villeneuve, with Dune. And look, I know some people didn't like it, some people it's not for them, but guys,
I didn't think you were gonna say that.
I was shaking in my seat. Hans Zimmer's score, the scope of Arrakis, the sweeping wide shots, the and I think the subtlety of what was spoken. Maybe you guys, or maybe a lot of people didn't understand what was happening with the spice and the Fremen and all that stuff, but God, every single glance and whisper and growl had intent with Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa, and even the 3 lines that Zendaya had, whatever it was. She had like 4 minutes of screen time or whatever, right? But I love Dune so much. I saw it twice, and it just took my breath away. I'm a fantasy nut, so maybe that's part of it. I'm biased, but I really, really enjoyed Dune. And actually, my number 1 was a film that I didn't even know existed until 40 days ago. And my number 1 is Drive My Car. It's a Japanese film directed by Ryusuke.
I know that one.
I hope I'm saying this correctly. Ryusuke Hamaguchi. Drive My Car is just I'll tell you guys, it's 3 hours, but it goes in a breeze. It's such an epic script. It's such a powerful examination on how we deal with loss and how we go from there. And I don't want to spoil anything. It's just one of those movies you got to see. It's best going in blind, but it has some amazing performances. Hopefully the Academy notices. I particularly want to shout out Masaki Okada, and my phone will let me scroll, which it doesn't want to right now. But yeah, please check it out. Drive My Car. I thought it was fantastic. Has anybody seen that movie?
I haven't been able to find it anywhere.
Yeah,
I
think
still
it
have to
has like a
watch
limited release. But what were you saying, Alyssa?
I was gonna say I have a screener for it that I haven't watched yet, but it was one at TIFF, but it was because it was 3 hours. I was like, I could get 2 other movies in instead of this one, so I had to prioritize.
I was gonna say I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It took my breath away in a sense that like Dune took my breath away with spectacle and movie magic, but Drive My Car took me away with just what the story was unfolding in front of me and the emotions in the entire cast. Because I highlighted a couple actors, but the entire cast is amazing. So please check that out, guys. But with that being said, 2021 was a heck of a year. I wanted to jump to the next one really quickly. I feel like this in itself is a conversation. So before we go into our most anticipated films of 2022, I kind of want to ask everyone's thoughts on The Batman. Ryan, I know how you feel about it a little bit, and we can kind of gush over it for another few more minutes here. But Alyssa, are you excited for this film? Do you have any expectations for it? Are you kind of mad about it? How do you feel about The Batman?
I'm psyched for it. I'm looking forward to this one. I didn't think I would be, way back when it was first announced that we were going to be getting another Batman movie. It was like, how many of these are we going to get? But, once that first trailer dropped, it was like, wow, this is actually looking like it's going to shape up to be something very good and different from what we'd had. And at that point, right, they'd only filmed some very small, it was like 15%
Like
of the movie or something.
yeah.
It was wicked small. And so I'm very excited for that one. I like the idea of having a new Batman, like a newer early year Batman, but not like an origin story of Batman. I think that's interesting. And I like at least this sort of sense that it's going to be more of this crime kind of drama detective story thing, kind of tapping into some of those roots of Batman that we haven't really gotten much of. We've gotten crime fighting, but not like the detective side and sort of figuring out a mystery. And it seems like it kind of has that, but it's got kind of the grittiness that we have liked from past Batman movies, like with the Nolan trilogy. But I mean, it looks good. It looks intense, and so I'm looking forward to it.
I was gonna say, I mean, with Matt Reeves being announced and Michael Giacchino, if it's anything like what Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was for me, which is just something that just kind of kicked me in the mouth and just like grabbed my attention, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool movie. And I wasn't even a huge fan of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So Matt Reeves, man, he's cooking something good for us, man. Formal, what do you think about the Batman, man? Are you excited to see it? Are you how do you feel about it?
Bruh. Yeah. Yeah, you can't like express how excited I am for that movie. Because like one, like what she was saying was that about the detective work. I think personally that's one of the things that has like really struggled on a lot of Batman, like any of the live action movies. It's really struggled. So the fact that we're getting into that, and then we're also based on what Matt Reeves told us, I think at DC Dome, like what, in 2019, if I remember correctly, maybe it was 2020. I don't know. It's all the same now. But whenever that was, whenever the first trailer dropped, when he said it's like based on like oh, I can't remember which comic offhand right now, but like that one comic, and it has to do with like the
The
psychological.
Long Halloween, right?
No, well, he said that there's gonna be some bits of that, but then also
And
He also
Batman Year
mentioned Year
One.
One, I think.
Batman
Yeah.
Year One. I thought
Yeah.
it was a mix between those two.
and there's I don't remember the other one. There's
Unless
another
there's a
one.
third that I just didn't know about.
I just can't remember the name of it right now. I have it written down somewhere, but I don't have it. But anyway, the point is that like I'm really looking forward to it. I think like similar to what you were saying, Lo, like with Matt Reeves, like he's hyped this up movie like almost perfectly. So much so that like within 3 minutes they're within 3 hours they're dropping like the first track from Gianchino's score for the movie, and like I'm excited for that. I'm staying up to listen to one track of a soundtrack. That's how excited I am for this. And like, yeah, and I mean, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes gets you to care about this an ape that the majority of the movie isn't speaking actually. And imagine like if he actually has like a characters that can actually talk to you. Like I can't even wait to see that. And like I'm gonna be like really looking forward to like I think what they're doing with all the villains. I mean, yeah, there's a lot, but I think honestly they're focusing on a more darker side of what Batman has. And that's one thing that like they reinvent certain like villains that are a little bit more like creepy and add a little bit more to it. Like if you look at like the Batman video games, the Arkham series, they basically changed even from the animated series, Scarecrow, which was kind of almost a joke in the animated series, and then to this really creepy character that's like dealing with nightmares and stuff like that. And I mean, the last time we saw the Riddler outside of like, any animated TV shows was Jim Carrey's version. And I mean, that's fine for what it is. I think he's Jim Carrey, and it's exactly what Jim Carrey was at the time. But it's kind of a cheesy way to put the character. Now we're going to be showing this kind of like serial killer, almost like the Zodiac type of character. And I think like that's something that like we really haven't had before. And I love what Matt Reeves has really tried to hype this up. And well, also I'll just plug this. Like me and Dibes are probably going to be doing something when it comes to the Batman and also maybe Planet of the Apes. I'm not really sure yet the full details, but we'll be doing that in the upcoming. So in a nutshell, yeah, I'm kind of excited for it.
Hey man, I'm looking forward to that. And I just want to say, to quote Ben Kingsley from Shang-Chi, if Matt Reeves could teach those monkeys to ride horses, imagine what he could do with the Batman and with Zoe Kravitz. So with that being said, Jalen, how do you feel about the Batman? Are you as excited as? Because I mean,
No, I'm
I've been
super excited.
salivating at the mouth since DC Fandom 2 years ago.
No, ever since they dropped the trailer, I've been like just counting down the days until it drops. Like I respect Robert Pattinson as an actor. I think he's gonna smash it. But most importantly, I've been wanting Riddler on the big screen for the longest time. Like I feel like he's probably my favorite Batman villain. I'm really looking forward to Batman being challenged intellectually. Deep said in the comments, he's like, Batman actually doing detective work, sign me up. And that's honestly how I feel. Like I know I know he can kick ass. I know like he has 1,000,005 batarangs, but I really want to see him like be challenged intellectually. And I like the direction that I don't know if you guys have seen the Gotham series on Fox, but I thought that adaptation of Riddler was okay. I thought that adaptation of the Riddler was okay, but I'm looking forward to something a little bit darker, a little bit more sinister, because I really think that's, if you think about that universe, like Batman is just like this grueling crime fighting vigilante dude, and if somebody was really gonna challenge him and send him on all these wild goose chases, then it would have to be a pretty sinister person. So I'm looking forward to see what Matt Reeves has in store for that Riddler Batman like game of cat and mouse. Like that's what I look forward to the most.
Yeah, I think that's what the tone of the teaser said initially. The second his boots hit the ground, and then Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon just says, "I think this is for you" or something like that. I was just like, "Yo!" Like he walks in with his suit with the logo made out of like a gun. Oh my god! I just gave me chills, man. But Rye, let's gush about this movie for a little bit longer, and then drop us your most anticipated films of 2022.
All right, so Batman obviously is one of my most anticipated. I mean, this movie looks fucking crazy. I mean, you got Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Like, I mean, that's crazy in and of itself. You got Colin Farrell as one of the weirdest interpretations of a comic book character I think we're gonna get so far as the Penguin. And I gotta say, I'm calling it now. This movie is gonna get some type of makeup, costuming, Oscar nomination next year because that Colin Farrell makeup for the Penguin is
I didn't
fucking
recognize
insane. When the first trailer dropped, unrecognizable. Like even the behind the scenes photos, you can't even tell, and it still sticks with me. You know that it's him, but you're still looking at like, holy shit, that's really him. But like you guys said, I really like what they're really doing with this Riddler in this movie. I really like the costume. I don't know if you guys saw the costume leak a few days ago for the character, but I really like what they're going for the character, and they're going for that Zodiac feel. And I really like that they got Paul Dano of all people. And one, a really interesting choice, and two, a really great choice. Because if you guys have ever seen him in Prisoners, the dude's got it to be super menacing and really can fuck with your head. He's got those chops. And like you guys said, the only other interpretation of the Riddler has been always some cartoony, goofish type. I feel like this Riddler's really gonna fuck with Batman, and I really feel like even though the movie's PG-13, I really feel like they're gonna push it on that PG-13 rating. I think it might be a little bit of a boundary difference of blood and no blood that really makes this an R and not R movie. One of those Zack Snyder type of moments there where they make a PG-13 movie, but he says three fucks and it makes it R. But yeah, I can't wait for this movie. But for my most anticipated though, Batman is obviously one of them. To go with my horror roots, I got Scream on here because this was made before I saw Scream. But horror roots again, The Black Phone by Scott Derrickson. That movie just got delayed till June from February. Very disappointing. He made one of my favorite horror movies of all time in Sinister. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Just hearing what people are saying about this movie just sounds absolutely batshit crazy, along with that small teaser trailer that we got at the end of No Way Home. Really just ups my excitement to really see where they bring not only Doctor Strange, but like where Wanda goes after everything that happened in WandaVision. The Northman is another one. Really looking forward to that. But I would say the next two that I'm most excited about, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and I would say Mission Impossible 7 and Jurassic World Dominion are like tied for like that fifth spot, I guess you can say. Because I really didn't like the last Jurassic World movie. But I really dig the fucking concept they're going with this new one, having everything kind of be free range. And I'm really curious to see how they do with the legacy characters of the original 3 movies. And Mission Impossible has just been on this streak of just upping themselves recently. Mission Impossible 6 being one of the best ones, I think, in my opinion. And just seeing what fucking Tom Cruise is willing to do for this franchise is always super just satisfying, seeing someone dedicated to the craft, because you know it's legitimate, it's raw, and you know what you're seeing isn't that filtered CGI shit that we're seeing a lot of nowadays. And I think a lot of that really just adds to my excitement, because while he might be crazy, he's a man of really interesting ethics, we'll say. So that's my list of top 5 anticipated for the year 2022. Baby.
Epic, man. I didn't think you'd go there, especially Mission Impossible. Was that your number 1?
There was a mixed bag. I think like
1B?
all 5 of them. Yeah, they're like all 1A, B, C, D, E for me.
Epic, man. Yeah, hey, Tom Cruise is a madman, man. Especially at his age, doing all those stunts. Let's break down your most anticipated films of 2022.
Yeah, so I mean, we were just talking about the Batman. That's probably my most anticipated. So we've
I felt like that'd be number 1 for a lot of us, so I just made a whole separate topic.
Yeah. So next, probably my number 2 anticipated. The rest of these I don't really have super ranked, but I'm really looking forward to Nope. So Jordan Peele's third film here.
Yes.
I have no idea what to expect other than it's probably going to be something I enjoy, because I loved Get Out and I really loved Us. And so I'm psyched for Nope. Next one, I agree with Ryan. I'm really excited for Mission Impossible 7. Fallout was superb. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. I think Fallout was one of the best, if not the best, action film in like the last decade or so at the time when it came out, and probably still. And so I'm really curious to see kind of where they go with the story and if they can continue to one up themselves as they've been doing the last decade. Four, I'm looking forward. This is one that surprised me, but the more I watch this teaser trailer, the more I'm excited for it. Lightyear. That was not one that I anticipated liking. I remember when that was first announced, I thought it looked stupid, or it sounded stupid, I should say, because it was just, it just seemed like the spin-off kind of cash grabby thing for Toy Story, because, they sort of closed out the story with 4, even though I think they have a way they could go with a 5th film if they ever wanted to. But this idea of this film being kind of an in-universe movie, like this is the movie that Andy saw as like a 6-year-old that made him want to get the Buzz Lightyear toy. Like something about that is very cool to me and very nostalgic, I guess. So I'm curious and looking forward to that one. And another one, so I like Ryan, I am looking forward to the Black Phone, but that didn't make my top 5 here. This one, Don't Worry Darling, which is Olivia Wilde's next film. That one looks interesting. I was not anticipating this kind of a genre shift for her, going from like Booksmart to now sort of this psychological thriller drama sort of deal.
She's also doing Spider-Woman too, which is interesting. Like you're saying with the genre shifting, really interesting.
Yeah, so that one, there's not a ton out about that one yet, but it's coming out, I believe, in the fall, maybe the end of the summer. As of now, who knows? But I'm looking forward to that one too.
Awesome. I love that you brought up Lightyear, and what's funny is I forgot Lightyear and Nope are coming out this coming year. I totally
This year's loaded. This year's loaded.
You're right.
Nope
Jalen.
was in April, I
but
think.
I like how Lightyear is like going the meta route. Has Pixar ever really done that?
No, this is like the first time, bro. It's really weird to see them do it too.
So that being said, Formal, what's your most anticipated of 2022?
So I'm gonna start off and say, there's a group of comic book movies. I think is honestly for me, it's one, because there's just you have the Batman, you have Spider-Verse 2. Up till today, I had Wakanda Forever. Who knows if that's happening this year now? I don't know. You got Doctor Strange. I'm looking forward to Aquaman, The Flash, Black Adam. I have all of those just as one, because I could spend time talking about them. But outside of the comic book world, I would say at the bottom, this one I forgot. I just saw that they were redoing it, and I was like, oh, this could be really interesting. Apparently they're doing a Puss in Boots sequel. And I'm actually looking forward to this because, I really like the first one.
I thought that was 2023, though.
It said December or November.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really know. I thought I heard 2023, though, but yeah.
They may have delayed it. I don't know. But if not, well, but I really enjoying. I like Antonio Banderas. I like how they've kind of brought a cat version of Zorro, and then they had Salma Hayek in the last one, and I love their chemistry anyway. So I'm looking forward to that if it comes out. I agree about Nope. I'm looking forward to that. Jordan Peele he hasn't really done a bad film. I mean, he's only done 2, but hey. And then the few other ones is Baz Luhrmann. I can never pronounce his last name. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. I think that's going to be good, coming out later this year. I like his film. They always are big, and the scope of them are always great. And then my only A24 nod here is the Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh. I think that looks ridiculously crazy. I don't know what they're going with it. There's a multiverse aspect to it. Because of what A24 has done, I'm confused and excited at the same time. Not really sure how to take that, but sure, I'll watch it. And it has Michelle Yeoh doing a lot of great martial arts, which obviously she's really phenomenal at. So I'm excited for that. And this one's kind of my last one is, it is the end of a trilogy, at least it's supposed to be, is Creed 3. I think that I'm looking forward to it just because I've really liked that storyline. the first one I definitely think is the best one so far, but I'm interested more to see how Michael B. Jordan's directional skills are with the film, because obviously with Rocky becoming director, I don't remember which. I mean, sorry, Balboa becoming the director of the. No, why am I saying Balboa? Stallone becoming the director. Wow, becoming the director. I think the third one I want to say, but I don't. I'm not sure on which one he actually.
Yeah, you're right. I think he directed the second one as well, but he started directing all the sequels after.
Yeah, and so and obviously there's some that are better, and then there's Rocky 5 that never mind. So I think it could be really good, and I think that, I mean, the direction I think on all of them have been phenomenal, so I don't think it's going to be bad, and yeah, I think it could be really good as well. So, yeah.
Epic, man. I did not know Baz Luhrmann is doing an Elvis picture. That's insane. And Baz Luhrmann, I'm not the biggest fan, but his style is just wacky. It's off the wall. His camera just goes a million miles an hour. And I like Romeo and Juliet. You know, that's pretty cool. I like The Great Gatsby, but we'll see. That's a pretty interesting one. Jalen, hit us with your most anticipated, man.
Yeah, so my list is very comic book movie heavy. So I'll go ahead and start with the one that's not based on a comic book. And that's Nope for me. As soon as I saw the poster, I was just like, yeah, this gonna be the one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know much about the film yet, which kind of adds to my anticipation for it. But I mean, Jordan Peele has been smashing it for a few years now. So looking forward to Nope. Number 2, or I guess number 4 technically, the Black Panther sequel, just because I'm really curious to see how they're gonna try to move forward without Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. And I love me some Ryan Coogler. So like I know he's gonna do him justice in some type of way. I just don't know exactly how that's gonna play out. So I'm really looking forward to that. Another film that I'm really looking forward to is actually The Flash. Like, forgive me, I know it's not like the terribly popular, but as soon as I saw Justice League and it flopped, the original, not the Snyder cut, I was like, they're gonna have to flashpoint this shit. Like, they're gonna have to do it. Like, this universe is gonna have to get scrapped. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I'm really curious to see if it will. And I kind of put that in the same bracket as the Aquaman sequel. Aquaman was a pleasant surprise for me in 2018. I wasn't a huge Aquaman fan going into that movie, but it kind of made me a believer. So I'm interested to see what the sequel has. And then I feel like I named more than 5, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of the Madness of the Multiverse. Sorry. Looking forward to that because me and Deez are talking, and some of the rumors that we're hearing about that movie are wild. They're talking about the X-Men universe might get thrown in. Like, who knows? Who knows what the madness of the multiverse like consists of? So I'm really looking forward to that. And then we already talked about the Batman, so I'm gonna skip over that for now. I think we're all just like foaming at the mouth and salivating over the Batman. So I'll wrap up with my most anticipated, which is Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man 2099 is in that hoe, and I'm there, like front row. Never front row because I always sit in the back of the theater. Because if you sit in the front row, you're a maniac. But Across the Spider-Verse is definitely my most anticipated film. I'm looking forward to see how like Miles' story is developed, and like I said, Spider-Man 2099 is in it. So what more even needs to be said about Across the Spider-Verse? So yeah, that's my top 5.
I love it, man. And, you know, the world could always use more Oscar Isaac. I believe he was the voice in the post-credit scene from Into the Spider-Verse, right? Yep. Epic. So let me just round us off here. I actually wanted to go back up a little bit. We have a podcast about in the comments. And shouts out, man. That's my number 5. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where Nick Cage plays himself, and he gets invited by a superfan played by Pedro Pascal. And it's supposed to be like a bonkers, like almost like I don't know, action comedy or just a weird being John Malkovich type of comedy. I don't know. I love Nick Cage when he's at his crazy best, you know, A, B, C and all that crazy stuff. Not the B's. Like Nick Cage is just so fun. I can't wait to see more of that. I agree with Rye over here. I've been anticipating Robert Eggers' follow-up film for a while. So my number 4 is The Northman.
Yeah, baby.
It looks intense. I didn't watch the whole teaser because I want to go in kind of somewhat blind, but just from the 10 seconds I saw, and the gifs I've seen of like Alexander Skarsgård swinging his axe around, or is it an axe or a sword?
It's a axe. Yeah. It's
Like
an axe.
holy hell, he looks like he's gonna.
Looks like a badass, bro.
He looks like he's gonna cut people like in half, like not like this way, like this way. It's like gonna be insane. My number 3 is actually, I'm a big horror head too, man. So I can't wait for Scott Derrickson's Black Phone. I think pairing Ethan Hawke and Scott Derrickson back together again, it's magic because Sinister scared the crap out of me. I
So
was late to
scary
the party,
still.
guys, but holy shit, I was scared. I jumped like 3 times. I was nervous almost the entire film, and I feel like that doesn't always happen anymore. You know, some horror films I just sit through and laugh and have fun, but Sinister got me. It just shook me to the core. So
Plus, this
We'll
is a
see how that
Joe
one
Hill
goes.
story, so that's Stephen King's son, and so like the writing is there for it
Yeah.
too for the Black Phone.
So good.
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And so I go comic book heavy as well to finish it out. My number 3, or wait, what number am I? 5, 4, 3. I don't know how to count. My number 2 is
Oh, with those numbers again.
Spider Verse as well. Into the Spider Verse I rewatched before No Way Home, and it kind of re-sparked my love for that film. I kind of almost forgot about it for a while, but God, that movie's so good. And if it's anywhere near as good as the first film, I think we're in for a treat. I hope we didn't see the last of Spider-Gwen. Fingers crossed. I know they have a relationship in the comics, right? Miles and
She was in the
Spider-Gwen, I
teaser.
believe.
She's in the
She's in
teaser,
the
bro.
trailer.
Yeah, she's in the teaser.
I didn't watch it. I'm trying to, I was eyes
my
closed
bad.
for No Way Home until I sat
No,
down.
she like
Maybe I
came
can
and
do this.
recruited that man. Like she's definitely
Well,
in it.
Yeah, she's in it.
She teased it. At
And
the
it's
end
been
of-
confirmed. It's just been
Guy,
confirmed.
okay,
It's
well,
been
thanks for the
confirmed.
spoilers, guys.
I mean, at the end of
no,
the
it's
first
at
one,
the
she
end of
was
no-
calling
it's
his
at-
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, low. Damn. Fuck.
It's all good. No, seriously, I didn't watch like any of the trailers for No
You
Way
don't
Home
say.
except for the one that you and Dives reacted to, Rye. After
What,
that, I just
Moon
closed
Knight?
my eyes. I didn't want to see anything.
Dude.
So I was trying to do the same thing here. Oh well.
Fair
And then my number 1, it's kind of a 1A, 1B, just because there's so many movies coming out next year. But shouts out to Multiverse of Madness just because of the return of Sam Raimi. But to be honest, my most anticipated CBM is actually Love and Thunder. I'm a big Taika Waititi fan. What We Do in the Shadows, Jojo Rabbit, and of course Thor Ragnarok, which is like my 3rd favorite MCU film. He just really like reinvigorated the character of Thor. I love the score. I love everything he did with the character. It was just fun, and it's like not that Thor was boring in the Dark World or the first Thor, but I thought it was cool to do the intergalactic madness that he fell into with Jeff Goldblum and with Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. And I'm excited to see Natalie Portman as Lady Thor, and with Jane wielding Mjolnir. I think that's going to be epic. So that's my tops of the list. It's been a heck of a time, guys. I'm so glad. Thank you for joining me. Before we get out of here, though, let's just sign off and let people know where we can find us. Jalen, where can people find you, and what you working on? You got anything going on?
Yeah, so let me get my right hand. I always mess up. Okay, so you can find me at just Jalen on Instagram and on Twitter. I have some pretty atrocious TV and movie takes on Twitter, and I also cover sports with Philly Sports Network. So if you want to talk Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, I'm down for that as well. So yeah, as far as what I'm working on right now, I'm just cooking up some mock drafts, trying to get us ready for next football season. So yeah.
Awesome, man. It's a pleasure to have you, and we're sure to have you in another draft. You did excellent the last time you played.
Not for real. Y'all just booted me out in the first round and never invited me back to a movie draft. I'm like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. I didn't want to be involved anyway. Nah, it's fine.
Hey, man, we don't control the votes, man. You had the Matrix. How did you get booted? I don't know.
I had the Matrix and Avatar.
I mean, I
Inception.
think it speaks for itself. The Matrix.
But seriously, Jalen, it's good to see you again.
for
Formal, where can people find you? What you got going on, man?
I have, like I said, I'm watching a lot of the most likely nominated movies. Like this week, I'm going to be watching Tick Tick Boom and putting out my analysis on that. Anyone, if you want to see my analysis on any of the other films I've talked about already, you can hit me up on Twitter, the Gram, Facebook, whatever. It's the same thing here. It's at the Formal Review, just no spaces. It's just one word. And I appear on this every now and again. I'm gonna plug here. Vote for me on the Oscar championship. I really hope that somebody, like my team, I think is good. So vote for it.
Yeah, I almost forgot after at the end of this. Please check out our poll on Twitter. Formal Review is facing off against Next Best Picture in our Oscars tournament. Who had the best picture nominees and winners? I think Formal as a team, Matt from Next Best Picture has a team, and they're going head to head in the championship. It's an epic matchup. Dives is also backing you, Formal. You got
Thanks,
some support,
Dives.
man. Alyssa, it was good to see you again as well. It's been a while. I was really happy you were able to return and chat with us and just talk shop. I just wanted to have a fun discussion with an awesome group of people. So thank you for being here. Where can people find you? And what's I know you're working on something. What you got cooking over there at Mainly Movies?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on again. And so you can find me at Mainly Movies. It disappeared, or it was over here, but it'll be back. There it is. So you can find me at Mainly Movies here on YouTube or on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, all of the social media sites. And I have a number of videos kind of lined up. The next thing that I have is coming out tomorrow morning, and that's going to be kind of looking over my Letterboxd year in review for last year. So kind of looking at some stuff that I typically don't get to share on YouTube because I don't talk about every single movie I watch during the year. So that's something new for the channel. That's coming tomorrow. But then kind of back to normal types of videos for me. So reviews and catching up on some films from last year. Gonna have to do my top of 2021 at some point as soon as I catch up on some extra films. So lots of reviews and kind of movie lists headed your way.
Awesome. That's a cool idea. Kind of doing the letterbox thing to kind of look back a little bit. That's awesome. I look forward to that. It was a pleasure to have you, Alyssa. Please, everybody watching, please follow Jalen, follow Formal, follow Alyssa over there on Mainly Movies, and also follow us on Twitter at the Suit Up Geeks. My man, Rye, break down our schedule, man. We got so much going on now over at Suit Up Geeks, man. What's going on, Rye? What are we looking forward to right now?
Bro, we got mad shit going on. So tomorrow morning we're starting the polling for Formal versus Matt on Next Best Picture for the draft winner. And whoever wins this, Matt or Formal, will be taking our 9th spot in the championship draft, which will either happen in March or April, depending on how next month, February's goes. But other than that, we're doing Peacemaker reviews at the end of the season because I feel like, I don't know why, it's a good show, but I feel like there's not enough in between to talk about. So we decided to do that all didn't even think twice about what I was saying there, but we're just going to throw it all into one review once the show wraps up. And then, yeah, we're also thinking about getting into the show Yellow Jackets. The show recently just ended its first season. I don't know if it's a mini series, but we definitely plan on doing that. Maybe a season review or something. Other than that, we got the Book of Boba Fett on Wednesday, and Friday we're either doing trivia or a versus series, possibly a Scream versus. Check our Twitter out for that at the Suit Up Geeks. Also, guys, we have our Instagram account now. We're pretty much posting on it every single day. We're posting new stories. We're doing polls, everything to keep the audience interested in doing some new and exclusive clips and content over there. So drop us a follow. Same thing, the Suit Up Geeks. And yeah, Lo, take it away, my man.
Yes, we on the gram. It took us long enough. I don't even have one because I'm an old man. But anyways, once again, I just want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody here, for Jalen, for Formal, for Alyssa, for Ryan, for myself. You are watching the Suit Up Geeks, and please come back and join us on the next time.
Peace.